Welcome back to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast presented by BrotoFantasy.com. I'm your host, Tim Petrop, with my brothers, the only two twins that give you double that fantasy goodness, Michael and Jason Petrop. Yes, today is the first day for the NF Sizzle, and we are here in the summer heat wave. Of course, it's Tim Petrop with my brother, Mike Petrop, and my other brother, Jason Petrop. We are here bringing you the heat wave, and we are in the NFC now. Time to get to the New York Giants.
The football Giants.
That's right, the hometown team in the NFC. So let's go straight to their offensive outlook and look at the coaching staff. Another year of Pat Shurmur and Mike Shula, who Pat Shurmur came over from, of course, the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense will obviously center around Saquon Barkley. I think that's obvious. Last year, the Giants, 64% of their plays were passing plays. That's fifth in the NFL, but only 3% behind the leader, so not a big separation. 17th in total offense, 16th in points per game. This is a team that was kind of around the middle of the pack, even with OBJ last year. So there'll probably be a little more run dependent this year, but I can still see the amount of passes coming. So, I mean, the offense might be a little hard to judge because you don't know how good Eli Manning or Daniel Jones will be, but you know that it's going to be an offense that definitely revolves around Saquon Barkley, that could revolve around passing. So let's go to the quarterback in our first position breakdown. Eli Manning is going to start the season, it looks like, but you know that this is not 1992 anymore. When there's a young quarterback waiting in the wings, it's time to start him. And I think the apology tour for the Giants for sitting him 2 years ago can finally end, and you could move on to the next guy within the season.
I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if Eli plays out the whole season.
That would be a little nuts.
Same here.
I'm talking about like a Dave Gettleman run franchise.
Yeah, it's an old-style team. They actually think they have a chance.
Yeah.
It's absurd. And for fantasy purposes, as bad as Eli Manning is, I'd prefer Eli Manning being there.
Even if they're like 4-7, I feel like Dave Gettleman will be like, we just got to win out and we'll make the playoffs.
Look, the Cowboys are 6-4, and they're in the wild card.
Yeah.
So we can do that. Yeah, but Eli Manning, you know what you're going to get at least. You know he's going to be able to check down to Saquon Barkley.
A lot.
You know that Engram and Shepard will get the ball. Tate will get the ball in the middle of the field. There's a little bit of certainty there, even though it's not a very valuable throw.
It's pretty hilarious because there's some Eli truthers out there still, and one of the things they say is how high his completion percentage was on third downs, but his yards per attempt on third downs are laughably low because of how many checkdowns, and his first down conversion is laughably low as well. So it's just people who have no idea what they're talking about.
Stat.
Yeah. At this point, Eli's a QB3. I mean, a backup in a 2 QB league.
So one thing that Jason said last year that held up to be completely true, and one thing that I think is going to be again this year, let's go to the weapons. Mm-hmm. Wide receiver. A lot of guys like Sterling Shepard. A lot of guys like Golden Tate. Now, Sterling Shepard says best case scenario is going to return week 1. Golden Tate is, at the time of taping this, is suspended 4 games, appealing the suspension. Could be down to 2, but will miss some games. Corey Coleman, torn ACL. Evan Engram looks like the biggest. They're talking about moving him to wide receiver.
They're certainly signing a receiver at some point. They've been talking about, they're bringing Kelvin Benjamin in, someone Dave Gettleman drafted in the first round. So
Yikes.
would not be surprised if Kelvin Benjamin ends up in New York.
What if Dez gets to New York?
That would be
interesting.
Do you think Dez wants to go play for the Giants after playing for the Cowboys his whole career?
Absolutely.
I mean, yes.
That's a terrible ass team.
So?
Yeah, but he gets to play the Cowboys twice. He's only 29.
That's crazy.
Yeah, what happened to him, man?
I mean, he slowed down.
And shit.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Let's talk about the Giants wide receivers though. Sterling Shepard. I mean, I like him. He has a really good contested catch rate. I think that he could be decent wide receiver 3 type in this system. Same with Golden Tate, although they kind of play the same position. What are your outlooks on the wide receivers for the Giants this year?
If I'm being honest, I think that Evan Engram, besides Barkley, is the only piece I want.
I agree.
I think that Shepard, he's being drafted as a wide receiver 3. Golden Tate a little behind him. What are we going to get from these guys?
A lot of people are saying that Shepard's going to get a shit ton of targets. And look, it could happen, but I just don't see it being that valuable.
I mean, we have true throw value to prove that. And Eli Manning was in the back 20s last season. He's probably going to stay the same this year around there.
Shepard ended 37th.
His throw value is also increased by Barkley taking checkdowns to the house for 80 yards. So, yeah, there's going to be some targets to go around. There's going to be good games here and there for Shepard and Tate. But if they're going to be spreading the ball around, I mentioned last year, I said when OBJ is healthy, you can't start Shepard or Engram. When OBJ is out, that's when you can start Shepard or Engram. So now you have another three-headed duo here. We don't know who the
three-headed duo.
Duo, that's funny. We don't know who the OBJ is this year. But I think that Evan Engram has shined. So I'm going to try. I'll talk about him when we talk about tight ends.
So let's get into it. Tight ends, because I know, Michael, do you feel different about the wide receivers? Is there any wide receiver that you're targeting?
I mean, they're both way better PPR targets than they
Definitely
are half
PPR.
or standard. Standard, they're way worse than they are PPR. Shepard had 66 receptions last year. Tate 74. I mean, both the same amount of yards, 4 touchdowns each. Except Shepard's 26 and Tate's 32, which is why I give Shepard the edge personally. I have Shepard as my wide receiver 41.
I mean, someone's going to have to line
I
up.
think that's reasonable. In half PPR, you're saying.
In half PPR,
That's a reasonable spot. I'm not going into the season with Shepard in my starting lineup.
Yeah,
someone's going to have to start outside, right? They can't all be in the slot. So
Calvin Benjamin, wide receiver 2.
Darius Slayton, rookie wide receiver. Psych. I see people on Twitter like trying to get on. Just join the Darius Slayton wagon. Come on, man. Come on. Talking about Eli Manning quarterbacking. Some 5th round rookie. Come on.
All right, that's a
Come on.
That's a long shot. Let's say it.
True.
Evan Engram, though, not a long shot. I think he has a great opportunity to succeed this year. There's going to be a lot of attention on Sterling Shepard, and there's going to be a lot of times where the Giants receivers are not in a position to get open. Evan Engram is the biggest. He's the easiest throw. I think there's something to be said about Evan Engram this year.
I know Jason likes Engram.
His rookie season, he saw 125 targets because of all the injuries. And I'm Mr. Don't Draft Rookie Tight Ends. He ended with 64 catches, 722 yards, and 6 touchdowns because he was thrust into a bigger role. If a rookie tight end is capable of doing that with a limited playbook, limited experience, you got to look at what he's going to be able to do when he gets that many targets his 3rd year. Last year without OBJ, he had 5.5 catches a game, 80 yards, and .33 touchdowns. You're looking at a tight end 1 there, higher up
Easily
as well. Yeah. So I have Evan Engram as my 4th tight end. I think he's more trustworthy than O.J. Howard, Hunter Henry. Of course, only by a little bit. Those guys I like as well, but I like Engram as my 4th tight end this year.
I would put O.J. Howard over him, but we're not talking about a big difference.
Not a big difference, no.
Yeah. Michael, how about yourself?
I have Engram right behind Howard and Hunter Henry, but I wouldn't blame you if you have Engram over. I think Howard has a much better case. Henry, just because of the injury and the targets there, I'd see that being swapped. But Engram, yeah, I don't know how many shares of Engram I'm gonna own, because if you want to grab him, you're probably gonna need to grab him 6th, 7th, 8th round if you're lucky. And he is stuck with Eli Manning, and he has shown to be injury prone. So if I'm getting a target in the middle rounds, a tight end in the middle rounds, I don't want him getting hurt.
That's a good point. I like Engram this year. I'm probably not going to have him on any teams, except for I just took him actually in a full PPR league, so I'm not going to say I won't have him on any teams. But that's because he fell to like the 6th round or something like that.
3.
I don't usually like taking tight ends early. But if it's full PPR, I know Ingram's going to see the targets. In the 6th round I took him.
He has an easy path to over 100 targets
I think
least.
He's kind of that last guy where you can put a tight end in your lineup and just forget about it. Because it's that top 3 upper echelon guys, and then it's the guys like Hunter Henry, O.J. Howard, Evan Engram, and then it's
refrigeration.
But I would even put Vance in like that next category where he's your
top of
starter,
2 or 3.
but you're gonna probably have to stream some weeks. Let's go over to the 1 injury away segment. Who's 1 injury away from being fantasy viable in this offense?
I don't think any of the backups are viable at all, so I went a different approach. I went Evan Engram because, like Jason said, Engram always plays better when there's an injury around him because he's targeted the ball. There's no OBJ, so if Shepard remains out and Tate's suspended and Tate ends up getting hurt because he has some injury history in his past too, Engram might just end up seeing 10 targets a game and end up being well worth his draft value.
10 targets a game. That's a lot of targets. Jason?
Daniel Jones is 1 injury away from having some random
I said the same.
DFS week where he's going to run for like 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The most underrated thing is Daniel Jones got legs. No one talked about it during the draft at all because no one really thought the Giants were going to take Daniel Jones.
Beat reporters say Eli looks way better than Daniel Jones right now.
He can't throw.
Oh, you mean
But
Eli Manning looks better than the rookie out of Duke? Yeah, I'd say so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Fitz is slinging it too over Rosen. That's off topic. But we're talking about old people looking better than young ones.
Fitz magic, man. Gotta love
Just
that
like
guy.
me and Michael looking better than Tim.
Boom. If you want to know for sure who looks better, then check us out on youtube.com. Of course, it's Broto Fantasy
Broto Fantasy
on everything. You could check me out on Instagram at Tim Petrot, but only if you're feeling real frisky. You could check Michael out.
Instagram. On Twitter, I'm at Mike_Petrot.
Jason
Petrot.
And, of course, you could find us at Broto Fantasy on Instagram, at Broto Fantasy on Twitter, BrotoFantasy.com. You can find us Patreon.com/BrotoFantasy. Please, if you found it in your heart to give us some support, please do. We could use it. We were trying to
go a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and money into this venture.
Yeah, and we're trying to go completely independent and help you guys get fantasy championships as our job. So if
it's a labor of love, but a labor nonetheless.
Facts. We'll see you next time.